To love yourselves, just as you are, is the only task, the only duty that you have to complete. September 6, 2016. These are interesting times. Humanity is moving very positively into awareness of its spiritual heritage, of its oneness with Source from which it has never for a moment been separated. And that is inspiring, uplifting, and extremely exciting. In fact, humanity is most definitely established on the collective path to awakening, although, of course, each individual has his or her own personal path that is different from everyone else. No two are the same among the many billions presently incarnate on Earth. Here in the spiritual realms, where we constantly watch over you, lovingly and compassionately, we are truly in awe at what you are achieving. You have made the collective decision to awaken from the dream or nightmare, and you are most positively implementing it. Great changes are in the process of transforming your attitudes toward each other and God. Love now pervades the earth plane, and is penetrating every heart that has not made a conscious choice to block it or lock it out. Everyone on earth wants only to be loved, because love is your natural and eternal state, and after eons of seeking it outside of self, the vast majority have finally realized that love is within them, not outside. Accepting the love within is the way forward, and that is done by accepting that you, each and every one of you, are perfect divine beings infinitely loved by God. When you accept that truth, you realize that to love yourselves, just as you are, is the only task, the only duty that you have to complete, and when you do that, love flows freely, smoothly, abundantly, and continuously as divinely intended, embracing all without exception. By loving yourselves as perfect divine creations, you allow your energy fields to expand to infinity instead of keeping them limited and tethered to your physical bodies on a short leash. When you do that, they all meld and mingle with each other, completely changing the energy field of humanity and planet Earth, as all then engage in harmonious cooperation, instead of in bitter and divisive argument and conflict. The melding or integrating of your individual energy fields is an intense ongoing process. Yes, you are all one, but you chose to experience separation, and to do that you closed off your energy fields by restricting your individual access to the divine field of love in which you are all contained, and thus apparently separated yourselves one from another and from God, by enclosing yourselves in individual physical forms. Doing so gave you control over that form, allowing you to hide who you really are from yourselves and from one another. You became actors, sometimes with many parts, in the illusory game that has been your seeming reality for eons. And it has been threateningly and fearfully real for most of you. Well, you have had enough. You are seeing that conflict and the intense need to be right, to which so many cling, is destroying human society everywhere on Earth, and doing unconscionable damage to the planet and all the other life forms that she supports. You are finally realizing that you can change your attitudes, your destructive beliefs, and your insane and intolerable ways of treating those with whom you disagree. Disagreements almost always escalate because your egos encourage you to hold your initial position, your perception of what the disagreement is about, regardless of clear evidence demonstrating that you have in fact misperceived what the disagreement is really about, and do their best to convince you that their fear of defeat, that is loss of face, is utterly justified. Egos live in fear, it is their nature to be fearful. You originally set them up to cope with ordinary everyday tasks, leaving you free to explore your illusory environment. However, they have no wisdom, no real knowing, and they truly believe that the illusion is real. Therefore, if you dismantle the illusion, they will cease to exist, and that terrifies them. But, like the illusion, they are unreal. They are just a tiny closed-off section of your mind, the divine mind that you share with your source, that you set aside for precisely this purpose. They will not cease to exist when the illusion is dismantled, but will merely be reintegrated into the one mind, from which they, like you, have never been separated. When that happens, all fear will dissolve as all finally recognize themselves as eternally one with God, and forever inseparable from that state. God is love, each one of you, every human, is one with God, and inseparable from Him, therefore you two are love. There is nothing else, and realization of this, and all are coming to the most dramatic awareness of this, is waking you up. So, as we keep on reminding you, go within at least once daily, attend to the altar within, where the flame of love burns continuously, by opening your heart to allow it to flow abundantly where it will. And where it wills, is to every one of God's beloved children to assist them to awaken to the knowledge of who they really are. Realization of humanity's divinity will no longer be dismissed as an insanely arrogant belief, but embraced with enthusiasm as you once more come to know it at the depth of your being. Then all sense of inadequacy, worthlessness, or sinfulness will fall away like discarded old clothing that is no longer fit to clothe such a wondrous being. As it says in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Very soon you will know that is the truth, as you feel the divine embrace that envelops all as they delight in the joy of being eternally awake in the presence of God. With so very much love, Saul. Channeled by John Smallman. johnsmallman.wordpress.com